have a couple of like very, very fond moments of Aaliyah. Oh, I actually have more than that.
I love DMX.
So this is 6. I try to use phones here, what case knows. Hot.
The plane, just after taking off for Florida in perfect weather, suddenly plummeted to the ground. Investigators now saying one of the engines apparently failed. Along with 8 passengers, Aaliyah, a young Brooklyn native and a talented singer and actress.
So they can have the shit happens. Just make sure the plane you on is bigger than you carry your baggage. Just make sure the plane you on is bigger than you carry your baggage.
DMX and Aaliyah, 2 legends taken way too soon. Their bond was unique, and some say it might have been even more than friendship. But DMX was always protective of Aaliyah, and he never creeped on her the way some of the other industry men did, allegedly. So there are some new reports circulating that Jay-Z was insanely jealous of DMX. And honestly, he had more than one reason to be jealous. First off, X was crushing it at Def Jam. He had a historic run, releasing 5 consecutive albums that all debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. Meanwhile, Jay was struggling and couldn't make up his mind whether to retire or not. And then there was Aaliyah. Many industry insiders have confirmed that Jay was obsessed with her, but Aaliyah wasn't feeling him like that. Instead, she first developed this close bond with DMX and later went on to date Jay's business partner, Dame Dash. Now, we all know Jay has a reputation for being insecure and controlling. He hides it well now behind the family man image. But back then, folks say he couldn't stand seeing someone have what he wanted, and he wanted Aaliyah. But then tragedy struck. Aaliyah died at the age of 22 in a mysterious plane crash. And that whole story has so many red flags that Aaliyah's fans still to this day believe her death should be reinvestigated. And remember when Mary J. Blige called Aaliyah's death a spiritual murder?
I just know that was a murder. You know what I'm saying? That was a spiritual murder, whether people know it or not. Because God don't kill people. You know what I'm saying? Whether people know it or not.
It's an interesting choice of words for describing a plane accident. Now, as for DMX, he survived the chaos of the industry for years, but his death in 2021 from a suspected OD has also sparked some suspicion, with some folks even making a connection between X's addiction and Jay's mentor, Leah Cohen.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. Yeah, I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
So was Jay-Z just jealous of DMX, or was it something darker? A game of power and control that led to both X and Aaliyah's untimely demise? All right, let's break this down. As you probably know, Aaliyah was linked to several men in hip-hop before her death, and her connections weren't just professional. She worked closely with DMX on the Romeo Must Die soundtrack and appeared in interviews with him where their friendship looked very close. DMX also referenced Aaliyah in interviews, saying how much her loss hit him personally, not just as a colleague, but as someone he cared about deeply. In fact, X was so devastated after Aaliyah's passing that he named his daughter after her.
And I was always a fan of Aaliyah, so it was like a pleasure for me. I was like, you damn right I want to be in it, but we worked on the movie together, and, we did the song, and she was like a beautiful person, man.
If you could get her back to say one last thing to her, what would you have said to her?
I have to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunities, and thank you for the music, and thank you for just being you. This is my own personal special tribute to Aaliyah. Here we go. Here we go. All right. This is Aaliyah, And, it's my newest baby, and I named her after Aaliyah, because, that's how special she was to me.
While all these other industry men only had one thing in mind when it came to Aaliyah, X was always protective of her. Even after she passed, when other people in the industry, like Drake, for example, tried to capitalize on her image, DMX was the one who spoke out against it.
Real quick, what do you think about Drake doing Aaliyah's posthumous album that's coming out and not involving Missy Elliott and Timberland?
Man, it just shows what I said. Fucking piece of shit. Fucking like, motherfucker, you didn't even know this woman. You didn't even know that you were in middle school. You fucking.
And then when DMX sadly passed away in April 2021, Aaliyah's mom, Diane Houghton, shared a tribute to him on Aaliyah's official Instagram page, writing, "Earl, you had and still have a heart of gold. You and baby girl will meet again with all the beautiful people we have lost. We'll never forget your kindness. Never. Blessing to your family. Eternally. Aaliyah's mom." Another thing that's important to point out here is that DMX is one of the few famous men who never had any creepy allegations attached to him. He had a chaotic life, legal troubles, and personal demons, but unlike most of these industry men in the industry, he never faced allegations of being inappropriate with young women. Now, Jay-Z, on the other hand, well, we all know the rumors. Foxy Brown, Aaliyah, Beyonce, Kathy White, his friendships with R. Kelly and Diddy, that rabbit hole goes deep. But let's focus on Aaliyah. It's no secret that Jay-Z tried hard to get her, and they were photographed together at many events between 1999 and 2000. Insiders also claimed that Jay was so obsessed with Aaliyah that he allegedly couldn't stand the thought of her dating one of his rivals. But like I said earlier, Aaliyah wasn't feeling Jay like that. What's also weird is that Jay had allegedly already started talking to Beyonce at the time, but Beyonce was his plan B. Aaliyah was a bigger star back then, and she had that special something that made her irresistible. But when she rejected Jay and started dating Dame Dash, that's when Jay decided to focus on Beyonce and make her the #1 girl in R&B. But Aaliyah was in the way. And if you believe Jaguar right, Jay had more than one reason to get Aaliyah out of the picture. First, his ego was hurt because Aaliyah chose Dame over him. And at the same time, he wanted to elevate Beyonce and remove all of her competition.
Like, I don't give a wanted to get away from your homie if you wanted to get away from your partner. But to do it the way he did it, it's malicious. But maybe that was because he was fucking the girl that didn't want you.
Oh.
And then in a more recent interview, Jag took it even further and alleged that Jay-Z used Hype Williams to orchestrate Aaliyah's demise.
It's time to talk, Hype. It's time for the public to ask you why Aaliyah couldn't get on Lenny Kravitz's plane. And you had to put her on that clown car plane. Who asked you to say that? And do yourself a favor before you make any statements. Please remember, I was out a little ex. You're apprenticed. I know a lot more about you than you think I do, Hype. It's time for us to stop pussyfooting with the truth. It is time for Aaliyah Dana Houghton's death to be properly investigated.
Jaguar also alleged that Aaliyah's choreographer, Fatima Robinson, knows the real truth about the plane crash. See, for some unknown reason, both Fatima and Hype Williams used a different plane the next day to fly back to Miami.
For Fatima Robinson to speak up about what she heard on that phone. It's time for somebody to be honest about who gave Aaliyah the pills that knocked her out before she was carried onto a plane she didn't want to be on. It's time for the other dancers who knew she was terrified to get on that plane to speak up. And it's time for Hype Williams to be officially questioned about why he made her get on that plane and why they forced her to do it unconscious.
Meanwhile, Aaliyah was forced to get on the plane that looked very dodgy. And when she refused, they sedated her and literally carried her unconscious on the plane.
I know Aaliyah was really scared to get on the plane to begin with. But apparently she was drugged and carried onto the plane. She had told everyone that she did not want to get on the plane. She fell asleep because she had a really bad headache. And then they just carried her onto the plane, even though she did not want to get on. It was said that she repeatedly told them that she did not feel comfortable. They handed her a sleeping pill, carried her onto the plane, and the rest is history.
And if that wasn't suspicious enough, Dame Dash later revealed that Lenny Kravitz, who has family in the Bahamas, offered Aaliyah his private jet. But Hype took it from her and made her use the plane they assigned to her.
What tight about was that I had heard that Lenny Kravitz had offered her a jet and that Hype had took the jet. So that's what really pissed me off about the situation when I heard about that. So you could ask Hype about that.
That's what I said. Have you ever talked to Hype about it?
Yeah.
And how did that conversation go?
Ask him.
But I also am asking you.
Yeah, but ask him.
So you can see how there are so many unexplained details about Aaliyah's death. And who knows, maybe these are all just coincidences. But then again, knowing what we know about how dark and wicked the industry is, you really can't dismiss anything at this point. Now, circling back to DMX, his death has also sparked speculation of foul play, with some sources even alleging that the dealer who sold him the stuff might have been paid off to give him a batch that was way stronger or laced with something. As for Jay-Z, after DMX died, he appeared on LeBron James's show and tried to downplay their beef, claiming that X was just too competitive.
There was a competitive thing, but it was big love. He was so competitive with me. I never met a human being more competitive with me.
But there's more to this story. It wasn't so much that DMX was competitive, it was Jay-Z trying to eliminate all competition. When Jay was named the president of Def Jam, DMX already had 5 #1 albums back-to-back. But according to X, as soon as Jay took over, he started sabotaging him and delaying the release of his 6th album, Year of the Dog, again.
Okay, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition, you know, because at first you retire, you know, then get me off the label. Now you're back rapping again. Okay.
On top of that, Jay was mentored by Layer Cohen, and DMX never trusted guys like Layer. X believed these executives were pressuring artists into weird situations, and he refused to play those industry games. Now, Layer is a whole different rabbit hole by himself. There are so many sketchy things about this man, and he was caught more than once giving different accounts about his family and their background.
My parents, incredible parents, 3 other brothers, and just a loving, happy family. My dad was the head of psychiatry for Kaiser Permanente, and my mother was just a housewife and raising children, and remarkable period of my life.
Now, I've always assumed that you were born in Israel because you have a slight accent when you speak. Have you heard this before?
Yeah, so my parents weren't immigrants because they weren't staying here.
Okay.
So my biological father was coming here just for his education. And my mother worked for the Israeli government. And so when I was born, I went straight back to Israel.
Oh, so you stayed there for a while.
I spent my first 3 years in Petach Tikva.
Besides that, people like Dame Dash always believe Layer used the divide and conquer tactic to break up Rockefeller, and he's publicly called him a culture vulture more than once. And when you listen to Layer talk, it makes sense why Dame felt this way. Like that time Layer went on The Breakfast Club and claimed he was sad to see DMX struggling with addiction. But when Charlemagne asked him why he keeps signing artists who promote that substance use culture, Layer basically admitted he profits from the chaos.
This artist you ever had had a real bad drug problem, DMX?
I'm so sad. DMX, there's 2 people inside of him. And the Earl is one of the nicest people. I put him up in Lake George. Earl loved being silent with a fishing pole. I shit you not. He just would stay on that dock hours and hours and hours and hours. Yeah, very, very sad. You know, I think the opioid problem, the syrup problem, is the biggest problem that I've ever seen and I've ever faced and been a part of, and I can't fuck with it. You know, the crack thing was devastating, but at least the rappers were bringing a spotlight to you becoming a fiend, okay? And I thought that spotlight, head crack, helped, even though it was harsh and really really rough, particularly on women. But I think it helped change the course of the crack epidemic. I don't know what's this opioid thing, man.
But being a crackhead wasn't cool back then. Being a crackhead wasn't cool. Now they seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup and.
It's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
Don't you think that's hypocritical though? You're saying
it's opportunistic.
Yeah.
I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Who's Dame Dash? You brought him up. I don't even know him. So you bring his name up. I don't even know him. So
y'all made a lot of money together.
Made a lot of money.
Come on, Leo. Don't do that to him.
I don't know him. I really don't. So,
But it gets worse. Lair was supposed to attend DMX's memorial on April 25th, 2021, but he chose not to show up. And instead, he sent a recorded message where he talked about how no one was surprised that DMX allegedly OD'd. And he even referred to X as a gremlin. Now, who knows? Maybe this was some inside joke. But still, that's not something you say at a memorial, especially for somebody like DMX, whose life was already reduced by the media to his struggles. And that's what connects DMX and Aaliyah's story. They were both surrounded by all these sketchy characters and people trying to manipulate and use them, even after their deaths. Well, now I want to hear your thoughts on all this. Is there more to Aaliyah and DMX's deaths than we've been told? And how deep do Jay's fingerprints go? Let me know in the comments below. And don't sleep on what's coming next.